I feel sometimes I keep repeating you, longing, painful for the lives of normal fags. Have you ever wanted to be a 20-year-old woman doing fruit, vegetable shopping in a Brazilian fruit supermarket at 1 a.m.? I don't know, I feel a great sadness but I've had romantic dreams about being even inanimate object, excuse to repeat, like an ashtray and such. But I think you can't know something fully until you know all the smells associated with it. If I think back since childhood, my most powerful memories have always been smell, and the most characteristic way I know a city is its smell in different seasons. I find the smell of people, however, mostly revolting. On account of this, I'm glad to be a Volcel, but certain types of women's perfume evoke powerful triggers, lost memories. This is what I mean. There are women who are amazed, though, at my scent. After a workout, they become addicted to me. I can tell they are possibly in a daze at my scent. Their eyes go blank. They're high on the power of pheromones. My power is impetuous. Anyway, look, I get off track on many things. I mean to say that as I look out on the expanse of the windows, the lights at night of these Asian metropolis, after the novelty and the excitement has worn off, and I'm back to my mania, trying to inhabit different people, and the only true excitement is gone, I start to dawn on me, okay, that nothing is ever going to happen in this city. And all due respect to the people who say China is the future, I wonder what, the future of what, because Singapore is the best China, the best that China can ever aspire to. China would be elated if all of its cities could be like Singapore, and I know Singapore pretty well by now. I can tell you nothing will ever happen in Singapore. There is not a nook or cranny where anything approaching anything interesting or great can creep into that place. It has none of the problems of cities in the West have. It's clean. It doesn't have homeless. It doesn't have obnoxious people making noise or terrorism or being a nuisance. Life is getting more expensive for the native Singaporeans too. They complain, but not to the point that average people can't live in their own city. Name a Western problem, whatever it is, from problems with migrants to, dirty streets. It doesn't exist in Tokyo. Not even the obnoxious feminism, actually, or what makes life especially difficult for many men is the chubby girls. I remember appearing in Manhattan even by the 2010s, and people are thin all over East Asia. I know it's not geriatric cities. It's not true. Yes, you see catastrophically low birth rates on paper, but in Seoul, which in certain intersections, Seoul is built to look just like Tokyo, by the way, and I believe the Chinese cities are also modeled on Japanese cities to look like them. But these cities are full of young people. They have plenty of demographic potential to persevere for the far future, by the way. But there's a feeling in all these places that the only thing that will ever happen is people getting jobs, and maybe some will get good jobs, and their mom will applaud and they'll feel proud that, oh, look, Chinwen got a job. I don't want to use Japanese name. I love the Japanese people. Look, I am a credit to the white race in Japan. I was joking. I offered the Japanese police very fancy whiskey. Look, but they take a photograph of themselves after work. Albert, let's say, Albert. Operations manager, logistics executive in Singapore, fancy bar, have cocktails, have Armani t-shirt, take photograph, pop champagne to put with friends on Instagram. Many are wearing Gucci, and if you think I exaggerate and focus only on things that traditionalists find frivolous, and I'm not criticizing the luxury or consumerist aspect of it. I don't consider if Albert, hypothetical Albert, went to church and formed a family, or to Buddhist temple, same thing, and production of another Albert to continue this charade in the form of a family, that also would not be any improvement. It's just a repetition of this for the next 30,000 years. And how is that tolerable or even better than total regression to Neanderthal cannibalism? How is it better than coming heroic Stone Age to the end of time? I would much prefer that. Excuse me, I don't mean to say the cities of the West or the Third World are a path to that either. Now, maybe if the West solved its political problems, because all of these problems that you complain about are fundamentally political, the homeless is not, that's a political will problem. I mean, when it comes to why the cities and everyday life is shithole in the West, I mean, but maybe the West has higher potential once those problems are solved, higher potential than Singapore and even Tokyo, and can then free up its population of smart and creative men to do great things, but I'm not sure. You know, you can even say Tokyo manages to dominate much of world culture through things like anime. So, you know, that's something, but it's something tiny. It's not a part of Japanese life. It's something, I feel, a great closing off of all possibilities of life in all these modern cities, even the successful ones. They appear grand, the buildings are beautiful at night, they look like castles, they're soaring Faustianly in the sky. The lights hypnotize me. The alleys in Hong Kong behind the skyscrapers, they seem to imply some mystery, some very glamorous conspiracy. This is my imagining, that there could be secrets whispered in these narrow paths of Hong Kong, or even in my long walks before in American cities, that I imagined there were plots hatched, enterprising, diabolical minds, bold strategizing, the overthrow of states, at least the palace coup, and that was years ago, but nothing ever happens. Elon's dreams, you know, aside from Trump's comedic swagger that at least shook things up, and that was something new in the world, but Elon's dreams were to remind people that great projects can still exist, but ultimately I think they were just talk. Where is Mars? I don't know. Look, I will bet you. What do you want me to bet you? I will be publicly sodomized on TV if Elon takes you to Mars in the next 5 years, 10 years. It won't. These rich men are brain fucked by talking points that my friend and I designed 15 years ago on image boards and forums. They're addicted to getting acclaim from the equivalent of Bangalore bot farms, as far as they know. They don't know who's praising them online. The dumbest computer game of all, the social media. I would respect Elon and all these guys more if they were addicted to Wing Commander computer game more than what they're doing now, the online posting. You know, Paul LaRue, he was addicted to Wing Commander. Look up Paul LaRue. I mentioned him on second episode of this program. Criminal mastermind, exceeding ambition. At least that's something, you know, drugs, arms trafficking, precious and gold metal smuggling, money laundering. He put his hands into everything, and so many different criminal enterprises. I have to think he was just connoisseur of criminality. He couldn't stop getting into logging, trying to take over the farms in Zimbabwe. This is a man of criminal enterprise, and I only admire this relish, the criminal connoisseur of the apocalypse, this dried out heap that you call the world today. It's not a world. To call it, you know, the Gnostics would call it a labyrinth of shadows. That's far too romantic. All life has been drained out of every part of it. And it has to be violated, raped, every which way. And the criminal Paul LaRue, he's, I feel, my spiritual partner. Epstein was a pussy for not being what they claimed that he was. Every one of this world's delusions, it's not a world, it's kind of half nursing home, half prison. It must be raped, every one of its delusions, until the issue of this rape, so many bastard monsters born, run a rampage over it. You look at the grand cupolas, the avenues that Albert Speer had in mind for a city, the vision of a future of man's harrowing will stretching out into space, alien and otherworldly to everything you know right now, a life of true struggling and discipline, ready to transform from this everyday being into, leave it behind like caterpillar, to leave all of this behind. And thousands of great minds that the world of will could have given the tools to achieve great feats. And then, from that potential, to see this petty life of small claims, small visions, but most of all, small feelings, the pettiest feelings, where the highest aim of these nationalist and populist parties now is to have the wretched comforts of domestic perpetuity. At least the streets of Kyoto, I guess, are sparkling clean. You can get a tranny blowjob in Osaka, but the streets will be clean. I'd rather the world burn than it evolve to this, and I encourage... And by the way, it's not a tranny thing, because I encourage my friends among you to use these crises to install yourself over the next turbulent decades, and never forget that the only thing that matters is the possibility of greatness, and it's a rebirth in this utterly degraded trash world. This is what I've tried to say in many episodes, Caribbean Rhythms, the rebirth of the bright burning sun of the south, a somber tropical sun to scorch you. Nothing else matters. But the possibility of action and life of a very few, and the organization of all things to that end. This few must feel entitled, and must not fight for anything else but the initiation of grand projects, that millions can be sacrificed for these projects, and this is ever forgotten. Only the deepest feelings of regret will stay with you or your progeny, no matter how clean streets you get or how healthy family formation you allow in your cities. Fundamentally, the life of a Singaporean or a Tokyoite, as good as it is compared to shithole cities of the West, it's as meaningless as anywhere else in the world, as little consequence comes from it. And all the huffing and puffing now is really... This is what gets me mad about political talk now. It's useless. It's of ultimately no concern to me. I've always seen the political tumults of our time only as a vehicle for me and my friends, because their actual aim, though, is just to crawl out of one hole so you can live in another hole, a kind of neuter pastureland mall. That's what modern life is at its best in Singapore. There is no grace to this world, you see. So I say, don't seek to do good. Every good actually is obscure for you now. And this is not to demoralize, because that blindness is actually freedom. You should seek to break every good that exists, break every tablet, smash everything, annihilate everything that exists. I dream of a lithe, oiled, tanned bodybuilder squadrons of death, legions of annihilation, who with nudity and protruding cocks will break through the senescent veil of a sleeping world and awaken ancient powers in the dawn of day again. Until next time, I hope you enjoy show 200, show 201 coming soon. Until next time, BAP out!